Hi everyone, I want to make a new little video here about Kraft Resist Paper, how to make Kraft Resist Paper. And you know, I did a project like a week ago or so that had that Kraft Resist look. And the technique is really easy. And this is the project I'm talking to you about. I created this Kraft Resist on as the background of my project, and it looked really nice. I don't know if you can capture that. Everything that shines is embossed. So that's what's called Kraft Resist. So to make those cool backgrounds, like the Kraft, if you don't have Kraft Resist paper from Tim Holtz, I'm going to show you how to do that. So the first thing I'm going to do is prepare a little canvas, if you want to call it. This is chipboard, regular chipboard. I recycle. So to cover the back of that chipboard, I just cut the same size of the chipboard that I already cut, and then a regular cardstock paper or whatever paper you want to use to cover the back if you don't want to see, what's in the back. So I just want to, I'm going to use this. Then to do the Kraft Resist paper, I'm going to use regular cardstock paper. This is just regular cardstock paper, like I said, and brown. And it's very similar to that Kraft Resist paper that Tim Holtz uses. It's not the same though. It's similar. So we're going to work on that. So these are going to be the pieces that I'm going to use to create this little project. Now the project I want to do, it has to have trees and leaves, or trees or leaves. I have something in mind, so I'm going to work, throughout the process and show you mainly how to create that Kraft Resist paper, okay? So we're going to put this on a side for a minute, and let's talk about the Kraft Resist paper. So once you have the piece that you're going to use, you're going to need, of course, a stamp. You're going to need something called embossing ink, or watermark resist ink. This is what I use. It's from Ranger. It's called watermark resist. I do know that the distress ink set, or if you want to call it collection, it has an embossing pad. Anything that you can use that it is an embossing ink, that's what you're going to use. So like I said, I'm going to use my watermark resist pad. I'm going to need as well my the stamp of your choice. I'm going to use these are one of the new stamps from this set of Tim Holtz that I got. I'm going to use this one, which is like a dictionary writing. I think that will be pretty cool as a background. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp that all over the paper, okay? So we're going to get my stamping block. I'm going to put this right there. Get ready your embossing ink. And then I'm gonna just ink this stamp in my little paper here, so to create that background look. So I got one, right? And I go with the other one. And actually I'm gonna make it like zigzag kind of look. so it looks like different. I just want to break the pattern a little bit. So that's what I'm going to do. So once you stamp all your paper, you quickly remove everything that you're working with. I'm going to just pass my little clothing there so there's no ink in the mat. I'm going to get my embossing powder really quick. I'm going to use clear embossing powder. This is important. That's what you need to do that resist look. So I'm going to just fold this white paper so I can reposition the embossing powder. And then just going to spread that embossing powder all over your project. This is like too much, but it's okay because that's most of it is going to go back to the container. So I usually spread this a little bit with my fingers, just for the sake of it. And then you're just going to let it go to the paper, right? Try to get it out as much as you can so it looks right. So I don't know if you can catch that, but you see all my stamping, it's already covered with that powder. I'm going to put this on the side so I can put the embossing powder back again on the container. It's kind of tricky sometimes, but hey, I'm getting the hang of it. So any clear embossing powder will work fine. You don't have to have like the one I'm using, you know. Just make sure it's clear, not white. Okay, because that's the trick of making the Kraft Resist paper look like that. All right. Sorry, I got powder all over the place. All right. So now we're gonna add some heat to that with my heat gun, and I'm gonna grab my tweezers because I don't want the paper to fly all over the place. So what I do with the tweezers is that I just hold the paper down in a place that is not going to interrupt that powder, and then that's how I hold it so I don't burn my fingers. Okay, here we go. I'm going to do a little bit of a noise, okay? Alright. You kind of a little bit far away, so you didn't catch in a close-up what I did, but I'm going to just go a little bit closer. And then you can see, if I bring this up, you see now how my stamp appears in the paper. My camera doesn't want to focus today. Okay, here we go. You see, so I created that background. Now, you can do this with any stamp you like and as many stamps as you like to use, but I usually try to keep a pattern on it so it just don't go far from you know, being nice and balanced. Obviously the Team Holt Kraft Resist paper is completely different because it has a lot of patterns and different figures around the paper, so of course it's beautiful. But this is a simple way on how to do that paper, or at least come closer to that paper. So on top of this background, I'm going to include that branch or that tree or something that comes closer to what I need to do. This one. This is another Team Hall set, and the one I want to use is the bird with the branch. Just this one right there. Okay, so all you need to do now, obviously, is I'm going to take this out from here because we already used it. It was great. And I'm going to use this little bird over here with the branch. Now, you got two ways to do this. Or either you use black, simple black ink, or you can go with brown soda so it looks more subtle. In this case, different from the other project I did, because in the other project of the butterflies, I used brown, so it will match up with the background. But in this one, I want to go ahead and use a little bit of more darker look. So I'm going to go with my VersaFine. I have a VersaFine Onyx Black. And I'm going to get that ink right there in that stamp. Think, yeah, that's good. So now I'm going to ink this bird right here with a branch really in the middle, so I can have a space for a sentiment and then probably put something else on the top of the bird. And then see, you get that Kraft Resist look on the bird. See how cool is that? Okay. Okay, now that I have my bird there, I want a sentiment, and I also want, I don't know, I want to create something here, but I don't know exactly what. So, because as I'm talking to you, I'm just going, okay? So, bear with me. A sentiment. Okay, what sentiment can we use? Well, I got many sentiments we can use there. I got this one, which is it says listen to your heart. That comes in this set. I think we can use that, or the word love as well. Will be nice for this little project. This or the word, I think the word love will be better because it's bigger, and it has, this is, you see, the other one is like handwriting. I think the word love will come out better if I stamp that. Okay, so I'm just gonna go ahead and get another on my new Team Hall block. Place this right here, and I'm going to use again my VersaFine Onyx Black ink. And I'm just going to ink it a little bit better. Okay, there we go. And I'm going to place this word right there below the bird. Sorry, sometimes I'm out of the range of the camera. Alright. So there's my word. You see, if I would have used the other stamp, probably it would have been lost because it's smaller and it's a different type of handwriting, so this stands out. So that's the beauty of it. Okay, so now that we got that as well, we're going to go ahead and I'm probably going to use on the word, I want to use, to give a little bit of a color, I'm going to use some distress markers and to bring it up a little bit. Okay, so one of the colors that I saw when I was doing my chart is that stand out. It was the spice marmalade. I think I'm going to use this for that. So with the tip brush, I'm just going to go just very subtle in the spaces that I'm allowed to like draw the letter, because this is a very complicated font, but as long as you draw the inner parts that are like in white, you're just gonna be fine. So I'm just gonna do that a little bit around those areas that are completely white. So see, now my word is standing out a little bit better. So I'm just gonna go up with the B and cover all of those white little spaces. Okay. And remember, when you use distress markers, I've said this in other of my videos, but for the people that are new and that just watching this video for the first time, and if you don't remember, the distress markers can be used with VersaFine black ink or the Ranger black ink. And the reason is because those inks are water compatible. These markers are water based, so when you draw on top of the ink, it won't smear. So make sure you either have our VersaFine or Ranger black ink, whichever, it's perfect to use. So okay, I got that, and I might draw the bird a little bit too, to stand out a little bit. So why don't we use a little bit of that broken china, which is very, very bright blue. I'm going to go ahead and use again my brush tip from my broken china. I'm just going to color this bird a little bit so he stands out as well. So I got like a blue bird on top of my branch. There we go. Let me see if you can see that. See, the bird still is with the letters on top of it, and even if you go on top with your marker, you will still see those letters because the embossing powder is resisting that ink. So that's good. That's good. Okay, what else can we add to this to embellish and to make it a little bit prettier? I usually kind of make an environment around this, but since I have this Kraft Resist going on, or either I use something to be three-dimensional, or I can use so many things. Why don't we add, I think I would say one of my favorite stamps because everywhere I put the stamps always goes well. And it's from the same set. So I'm going to take this word out. Put it back where it belongs. Right there. And I'm going to use this stamp. This stamp is like, there's everywhere I put the stamp does a great job of making things prettier. I don't know why. It just works that way. So for that subtle look that I want, I'm not going to use the black this time. I'm going to use archival ink, and this one is the coffee color. Whether I do that, or I can use vintage photo, or maybe a greenish color, but I don't want to use green, and you're going to see why. So I'm going to go ahead with my coffee archival ink. And my stamp really well. And I'm just going to go ahead and stamp this where I think it would be nice. And don't worry if it doesn't come out completely. Like you see, I stamp in that little corner and it kind of didn't stamp. It doesn't matter, because the awkward it is, the better it is. Trust me. Because it looks more distressed. See that? So that's making my little project here more prettier. I'm going to add some of that in the bottom as well. So there we go. So I'm just going to clean my mat. I'm going to add some a little bit more down here. There you go. So since the bird is the focal point, I didn't want to use this stamp in black, so I won't lose the focal point on the bird. Okay, so let's see. This is how it looks on the bottom, and this is how it looks on the top. Now, I still think I'm missing something. So, I was playing a little while back with my new butterfly punch, the mini butterfly punch. So I think I'm going to use this. I'm going to take the same color of paper, and I'm going to just punch some of these butterflies. Alright, I think that's enough. So I got these cute little butterflies now that I can incorporate on my project. Maybe completely brown. I'm gonna miss them, because whether I ink them or I should have prepped the paper before I would have taken them out. So no, don't use that. use something more with color. So I'm going to go ahead and use something with more color. I think I have a piece of scrap here that we can use. Yeah, how about that? I think that's not this color, but this color is pretty. Sorry about that, guys. It just, I thought it was better if we use a little bit of color. Alright. So there's my butterflies. This punch is amazing. I mean, honestly, if you see the punch when you go out, get it. Because this is awesome. Alright. So there we go. Here are my butterflies. I think I'm going to add them in to the project so they have that nice little look. Let's see. I'm going to have to ink them a little bit, and I'm going to go ahead and use my vintage photo for that. And all I'm going to do is look. I'm going to use my sponge here, and I'm just going to sponge them a little bit. And go a little bit on the borders of the little butterflies so they stand out a little bit. So they look a little bit more distressed. There we go. They're so tiny. I call them the baby butterflies. Baby butterflies. Here we go. Alright. So that comes closer to the look I want. I'm going to clean my mat here a little bit because I have a lot of ink going on there. Okay. I'm going to fold the butterfly a little bit so that it's three-dimensional. Just like that. And then I'm going to use a little bit of paper glaze. This is very similar to the crackle accent. This is crackle accents, but there's regular accents on the Ranger products, which I don't have, so I use this one instead. This is very, very similar. So because once you glue, it's transparent, so those are good to use. I see, but sometimes it gets like a little bit stuck there. Okay, let's see. It gets clogged, and then I can't use it. Here we go. So I'm gonna add a little bit of that there, just a tiny little bit, just to put those butterflies there. And like I said, I'm using this because it dries clear and it dries quickly. Those baby butterflies are so cute. And there we go. So I added an environment to the whole creation. Great. So I'm going to put this on the side, and I'm just going to prepare that little background that I have, the chipboard background, or the little canvas, which is going to hold the creation that we just did. And this is very quick. All you're going to do is, if you have distress stain, use it. These are awesome for this work that I'm going to do. This one is peel paint, which is kind of like a green color. So I'm going to put a white paper because I don't want to do a mess on the whole thing, even though this mat is especially for that. But since I have the other thing over there, I just don't want to make a mess. So all I'm going to do is cover the chipboard with my peel paint. And these distress stains are really cool to cover really fast. A big area that you just want to color. And you can add as much as you want, and as much as you add, the darker the color. There we go. I'm going to add a little bit of heat to this so it dries out. I think that's enough. And I want to go ahead and create more like a distress look. So I'm going to use my sand block to sand the edges of this chipboard a little bit. So it creates that weird look. It's a stress. And don't worry about it. You know, the more pieces of paper that goes out, the better, because it looks like that. So you're going to sand the border. A very important tip that I always say when I use this sand block is that you have to have, obviously don't do that on top of your mat, of your ink arranger mat. Just use it on top of some other, like a paper or a carton, or if you have something that you don't care that it's going to be destroyed, use that as to cover the mat. Because if you sand out the mat, you will ruin your mat. So that's very important. There we go. So that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to create that distressed environment in the little canvas that I was working on. Okay. Just take the excess of paper that you don't want. I'm going to remove this from the side and clean this a little bit because I got a total mess in my mat. There. Much better. Alright. So, see, the reason why I didn't want to use green on the stamps is because my background of this little thing was going to be green. So it stands out. I'm going to get my distress, Team Holtz distress tool here. Distress paper tool. And I'm going to distress a little bit the corners of this, or the edges. Just working that out a little bit. There we go. So we're going to have to clean this again. Got a big mess here. Alright. I'm gonna as well ink a little bit the edges of this with vintage photo. So it has more of a presence. I like inking the edges of my projects. So you just do that. And there you go. Let me clean this again. Okay. There we go. Now all I gotta do is add this to the canvas and voila, we're done. Add your tape. If you have a ATG gun, just use that. If you don't have an ATG gun, you can always use a runner adhesive, like the small ones, or if you don't have that, you can always use your glue stick. But it's not gonna adhere the same though if you use a glue stick. So just make sure that you have a good adhesive. And there you go. I'm gonna put this here, right in the center. Right there. And there's my little project. So there's a butterfly, the bird is nicely blue, my words are standing out, I have a really cool distressed background, and I just show you how to do all this process. And guys, then again, if you like this little tutorial and if you like my videos, please rate, comment, and subscribe, and I hope you like this little project and enjoy it very much. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.